Well, you all look very different from up here. I'm picturing you in your underwear. It's not helping. Well, maybe the guy with the kilt. But as you can tell, I'm really nervous. And that's because I'm an artist. I'm a creative type. And I'm used to the work getting all the attention and not me. So it's really painful to be the center of attention. It's also important that I step outside of my comfort zone. And that's what I'm doing here. This is uncomfortable for me. But I'm doing this because it's really important. And some of the work we're doing today as cultural creatives is going to change history, as well as change the face of our communities. So, my mantra, bloom where you are planted. Even if that place you're planted happens to be a brown field on the Hudson River, as this once was. Bloom where you're planted. Now for me, yeah, that was me. As artists, we reflect the culture we grow up in. We are the arbiters. We are what shows where we live, what time, what place. And I am a child of the 70s, but what really defined me was not Sean Cassidy. My family lost its farm in the 80s. And for me, that was a turning point because of several factors. One was climate change. The other is when we lose a farm, we lose more than just a small business. We lose a family's hopes and dreams. We lose one of those connections that were talked about in the first presentation. We lose a bit of our history and what defines us as a place. What makes us different than every other exit on the highway? Also, I've been heavily influenced by the Hudson River School, as anyone who lives in this region has been. Now, they saw our landscape as beautiful and worth preserving. So do we, or we wouldn't be here right now. Taking these considerations, for me to bloom where I'm planted, which happens to be Orange County, it's the other side of the river. I hope you won't hold that against me. What we have in Orange County is this beautiful panoramic vista of the Shawangunk Ridge. That's a natural asset. We also have the Hudson River. We're the other side. And of course, we have tons of small family farms. These farms are all struggling for existence. These are my paintings, by the way, in case you were wondering. We also have a local foods culture, which is growing and beginning to flourish as well. Now, I founded a nonprofit based on some of these, and it's called the Wallkill River School. The Hudson River School was already taken. We think of ourselves as following in the footsteps of the Hudson River School, only we're more localized. We're really Orange County centric. And in Orange County, we partner with local farms. So we make those little webs of connections that were talked about, mostly through agriculture. We're an arts and agriculture mission nonprofit. I hope that makes sense. So what that means is essentially we take people out of the hallowed halls and institutions and plant them in farm fields to paint. So they get this real visceral experience of the food system. Plus, when you drive by in a car, you don't get the same experience. We also auction off our paintings to raise money for sustainable agriculture and to help preserve open space. One of the ways we did this is by putting together a local foods cookbook. This is something that can be done anywhere, even in Beacon and your community. This local foods cookbook highlights restaurants through their recipes, different family farms. We tell the farm's history, and we sprinkle in some tidbits about Orange County, like the rich pool of local talent we have, from opera to actors to painters and so forth. We also opened up an historic building, so we're actually a place, and our whole focus is creative placemaking. We want to show you what's so wonderful about Orange County, the local flavor, local color, and of course, local art, which is our specialty. Artists are more than just the shock troops for gentrification. We are also the ones who create value-added communities. We show you what's beautiful and have people come. We attract cultural tourism. Local color. Local flavor in Orange County is apples. We have tons of apples. Local art is plein air painting for us. That can be different anywhere. Beacon, you have a lot more diversity. Now, part of what motivates us is we actually received a grant to do this. We hosted a series of charrettes, which are sort of like brainstorming sessions where we brought in artists and farmers who looked at each other warily across the room. And we combined them to come up with some different ideas on how to attract cultural tourism to Orange County. Some of these ideas, I don't know if you can read this from a distance, some of them were great, some of them were a little off kilter. They range from flash art mobs in farm fields, which when we did it, the cows just kind of looked at us funny. Didn't really take off. To different regional branding ideas, which did gain a little more traction. We distilled some of these best ideas into low-hanging fruit. These are things we could easily accomplish with little or no money, which is very important as artists, little or no money. And what we wound up with is a farm art trail. So right now, we are putting artists in residency on the farms that retail directly to the public in Orange County. We're linking them with a map. At each farm will be a public art installation by the artist, which will have a geocache. Geocaches are fun things that attract families from the city. They're like magnets. But we're linking these geocaches and a map on Orange Tourism's website. So that way, people looking for a fun day can follow these geocaches. They'll see a local artist's work. They'll buy something from the local farm. They'll get a taste of the local color and flavor in Orange County. We're doing this without having to raise taxes, without having to hire a bunch of people, and we're creating economic opportunity for local farms as well as the artists who love them. How do you begin a creative placemaking effort like this? It's pretty easy. Just think about what makes you different. What is it in your community that is interesting and worth stopping to take a look at? For us, you get handsome doubles like this. And that is certainly fun. Now, these farmers are our allies. The farmers are really busy, so they're not going to help with a lot of the work, but they will help in other ways. Also, we have lots of youth. In Orange County, there's not a lot of opportunity for our kids. We want to change that. We want to be a foothold, a starting place, so the kids that graduate from our high schools can come to our school, assist our teachers, learn how to teach, and then offer classes themselves. So we're creating like an incubator for our high school students. Also, we partner with local authors. We have lots of local author book signings. We have historic societies. We have groups that meet in our space. And we cluster. Just as was pointed out, we really must make those connections, that web. That web is what we are interested in building, because the web is what keeps us moving forward as a community. Now, as an organization, we bring in a lot of visitors, and we track our local multiplier to find out how much of that money is staying in the local economy. Are those people eating at the local restaurants? Which ones? While they're here, do they stay at a bed and breakfast? Do they also go look at the antique stores? What other things do they do? And how can we better benefit the local people. How can we as an organization spend more of the money that comes into us on local businesses? So we rent from a local landlord. We pay insurance to a local insurance agent who actually has their headquarters in our community, which is rare, and things like that. We look for local. We also partner with framers, with restaurants that cater our receptions and hang our artwork in their restaurants and so forth. We advertise them on our brochures. This way, we are all connected. And when we create a localized community, we're creative placemaking. It's all about thinking local. And the reason for this is local is sustainable. We have a lot of global problems that we have to deal with right now. Even the economy, we think of it as being very personal because it hits our wallets, but that's a global problem. The answer to all these global problems is actually right here. It's thinking local. What can we do in our home communities? And also build community, because for us to go to all this effort, we want to sink our roots into some rich, dark, fertile soil. We want to live here, have our children live here, retire here. You know, this is the place to be, right here, right now. So let's be here now, because it is truly up to us. We are the ones who were put in this place at this time for a reason. So find your reason and join me in making this a creative placemaking effort. I have 2 minutes to spare. How's that?